Have you ever felt like something's just not right in your relationship? Like he says all the right things but his actions tell a different story? It's not paranoia. It's your gut telling you to pay attention. Today, we're diving into the 9 warning signs that scream he's playing you. Stay till the end to learn how to spot the red flags before it's too late. He's inconsistent with his words and actions. One of the clearest signs that he's playing you is when his words and actions just don't align. He might tell you things like, "You're the only one I care about," or "I see a future with you," but then his behavior tells a completely different story. Frequent broken promises. Maybe he promised to take you out this weekend, but when the time comes, he suddenly has an excuse. Work emergency, a friend needs help, or he's too tired. It's not just one-off cancellations. It's a pattern that leaves you feeling unimportant. Hot and cold behavior. Some days he showers you with attention, making you feel on top of the world. Then, out of nowhere, he pulls away, becoming distant or even ignoring your texts for hours or days. This roller coaster of emotions keeps you hooked, constantly trying to figure out where you stand. Avoidance of accountability. When you call him out on his inconsistency, he may either brush it off or turn the tables, saying things like, "You're overthinking" or "You're too sensitive." This is often a tactic to deflect blame and keep you doubting yourself instead of questioning him. Why this matters? Actions always speak louder than words. If he can't back up his promises with consistent effort, it's a sign he's not as invested as he claims. Consistency is a foundation of trust, and without it, a relationship is bound to feel unstable. Would you like to dive into any specific example scenarios or solutions for this situation? He's always too busy for you. When someone truly values you, they make time for you, no excuses. But if he's constantly too busy, it's often a sign that he's not prioritizing you in his life. Last-minute cancellations. You've made plans that you were excited about, only for him to cancel at the last minute with a vague excuse. It's not just disappointing, it makes you feel like an afterthought. Work or hobbies always come first. He seems to have time for everything else: work, friends, gym sessions, or even binge-watching his favorite show, but when it comes to you, he claims his schedule is packed. If someone is genuinely interested, they'll find a balance. Limited availability. Maybe he only meets you late at night or on weekdays when it's convenient for him, avoiding weekends or special occasions. This pattern often indicates you're not a priority but rather an option when it suits him. The red flag. Being busy isn't the problem, it's the lack of effort to include you in his life. Even the busiest people make time for those they care about. If he's not doing that, it might be time to question where you stand in his priorities. How to handle it. Communicate your feelings openly and see how he responds. Observe whether his behavior changes after the conversation. If he continues to brush off your concerns, it's a sign you deserve someone who values your time and presence. Would you like to explore how to initiate a conversation about this or address his behavior further? You only hear from him when it's convenient. A healthy relationship is built on consistent communication, but if he's only reaching out when it benefits him, that's a major red flag. Sparse initiation of contact. You're the one always texting first, planning dates, or checking in. When he does reach out, it's usually when he needs something, whether it's emotional support, a favor, or simply to relieve his boredom. The late-night texter syndrome. He often messages you late at night or during odd hours, claiming he's thinking about you, but those texts rarely lead to anything meaningful. This can be a sign he's keeping you on the hook rather than genuinely caring. Disappearing acts. He goes days or even weeks without contacting you, only to reappear with sweet words or apologies. This on-again, off-again communication is a manipulative tactic to keep you engaged while giving minimal effort. The bigger picture. When someone truly cares, they stay in touch regularly, not just when it suits them. If his attention is sporadic, it's likely he's not as invested as you are. What you can do. Take a step back and stop initiating contact. See if he makes an effort to reach out. Recognize that consistent communication is a sign of genuine interest. Don't settle for breadcrumbs. He avoids defining the relationship. If he's reluctant to have the talk or keeps dodging your questions about where things are headed, he might be trying to keep his options open. Vague labels. He might say things like, "Let's not put a label on it," or "We don't need to define this, do we?" While it might seem casual and fun at first, over time it becomes clear that this ambiguity works in his favor, not yours. Deflection tactics. When you bring up the subject, he changes the topic or downplays your concerns. For example, he might say, "Why ruin what we have by complicating it?" or make you feel like you're pressuring him. Actions don't match words. He may act like a boyfriend, calling you pet names, being affectionate, and spending time with you, but avoids any formal commitment. This is a way to enjoy the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities. Truth behind the avoidance. If someone truly wants to be with you, they'll want clarity and commitment. Keeping things undefined is often a strategy to maintain freedom while keeping you emotionally invested. How to handle it. Be clear about what you want and ask for honesty in return. If he continues to evade commitment, consider whether this is the type of relationship you deserve. He's secretive about his life. Transparency is a cornerstone of trust in any relationship. If he's hiding parts of his life from you, it's a warning sign that he may not be fully committed or honest. Guarded about his phone. He keeps his phone face down, quickly exits apps when you're nearby, or gets defensive if you ask simple questions like, "Who's texting you?" This secretive behavior often indicates he has something to hide. No introduction to friends or family. You've been dating for a while, but he hasn't introduced you to anyone in his inner circle. He may make excuses like, "They're really busy," or "I don't mix my personal and dating life." This could mean he's keeping you separate for a reason. Vague about his day-to-day life. When you ask how his day went, his answers are brief and lack detail. He might avoid questions about work, friends, or where he's been, leaving you feeling like an outsider in his life. Why this matters. Someone who's serious about you will want to share their world with you. Secrecy creates distance and mistrust, making it hard for the relationship to grow. What you can do. Ask open-ended questions to encourage sharing and see if he becomes more open over time. If he consistently shuts you out, it's a sign he's not ready to fully let you in. He makes you doubt yourself. A partner who constantly makes you second-guess your thoughts, feelings, or even reality may be using manipulative tactics like gaslighting. Dismisses your concerns. When you bring up issues, he might say things like, "You're overreacting," or "You're just imagining things." This minimizes your feelings and makes you question your perspective. Blames you for everything. If something goes wrong, he shifts the blame onto you, even when it's clearly his fault. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you're always walking on eggshells. Contradicts himself. He says one thing today and something entirely different tomorrow, but when you point it out, he denies ever saying the first thing. This inconsistency can leave you feeling confused and unsure of your memory. The red flag. Making you doubt yourself is a way for him to avoid accountability while maintaining control. It's a subtle yet toxic form of emotional manipulation. How to handle it. Keep track of conversations or incidents to help you recognize patterns. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Seek support from trusted friends or a therapist to rebuild confidence in your perceptions. He's flirty with others. If he's constantly giving attention to other women, even in subtle ways, it's a sign that he's not fully invested in you. Excessive attention on social media. He's always liking, commenting, or reacting to posts from other women. While interacting on social media isn't inherently bad, if it's excessive or flirty, it crosses a line. Flirty behavior in person. Whether it's at a party or a casual outing, he may compliment other women, joke suggestively, or behave in a way that feels disrespectful to your relationship. Downplays your concerns. When you address his flirty actions, he might laugh it off and say, "That's just how I am," or "You're being insecure." This minimizes your feelings and avoids accountability. The bigger picture. While some level of friendliness is normal, consistent flirting shows a lack of respect for boundaries and your feelings. How to handle it. Set clear boundaries about what you're comfortable with. If he continues to cross those boundaries, it's a sign he doesn't take your concerns seriously. You feel unappreciated. Being in a one-sided relationship where your efforts aren't reciprocated can be draining. No acknowledgement of your efforts. You go out of your way to plan dates, buy thoughtful gifts, or support him emotionally, but he rarely, if ever, shows gratitude or reciprocates. Lack of emotional support. When you share your problems or struggles, he brushes them off or shifts the focus back to himself. You feel like you're giving a lot while receiving very little in return. Minimal effort on his part. Whether it's planning dates, texting, or showing affection, he puts in the bare minimum while you're left doing all the heavy lifting. Why this matters? Feeling valued and appreciated is essential for a healthy relationship. Without it, resentment builds and the connection weakens. What you can do: communicate your needs and express how you feel. If he doesn't make an effort to change, it's worth considering whether this relationship is meeting your emotional needs. Your intuition says something's off. Never underestimate the power of your gut feeling. If something doesn't feel right, it's often because it isn't. Subtle signs add up. Maybe it's the way he dodges questions, the inconsistency in his stories, or the uneasy feeling you get when he's around. These little things might not seem significant on their own, but together paint a bigger picture. Feeling drained and insecure. Instead of feeling happy and secure, you find yourself constantly questioning his actions and your place in his life. A healthy relationship should make you feel empowered, not anxious. Ignored red flags. Deep down, you might already know something's wrong but keep brushing it off, hoping things will improve. This denial can prolong emotional pain. The takeaway: your intuition is your internal alarm system. If you're constantly uneasy or suspicious, don't ignore it. What you can do: reflect on the relationship objectively. What's making you feel this way? Talk to a trusted friend or journal your thoughts to gain clarity. Don't be afraid to walk away if the situation feels toxic or unhealthy. Relationships should bring joy, trust, and a sense of security, not confusion or doubt. If you've noticed these warning signs, it's time to listen to your intuition and prioritize your well-being. Remember, the right person will never make you feel like an option. Like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on love and relationships. Take care of your heart, and we'll see you in the next one. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to Mind Matters for more insights on love, relationships, and personal growth. Take care of your heart, and we'll see you in the next one.